Yo, what's up guys, Shujinkydink here. Welcome to a video all about my tier list for Mortal Kombat 11. Aftermath patch has been out for a while now, so I figured, hey, let's just put our heads together and let's talk about what we feel, feelings and stuff. So I'm going to rank all these characters here. We got 4 different tiers. We got best, great, good, and okay. So we're just going to talk about them. I like to leave videos like this as unedited as possible, just to get the conversation going, you know. So starting, looks like alphabetically, so we got Baraka. So Baraka I would put in the good tier, which is kind of like a lower mid tier, I suppose. Baraka does really good damage in Marauder. He does have some string whiffing issues, so that's what keeps him down. But he's one of the few characters that has his 3 very good variations. Bone Picker, that little blasty things, man, that's like a great neutral tool, great anti-air. Like, you can't jump on Baraka in that variation. And then he's got the leg kebab thing and the blade charge and the you know, kind of move in the other variation. So but he just has like just a couple glaring weaknesses. I think of some whiffing issues, that some mids that don't actually turn out to be mids. I don't very obvious neutral game. But yeah, I mean, he's got some good tools, but not good enough to be considered great. So Cassie Cage is considered great, though. I don't think she's good enough to be up there. I think her damage output is a little bit low, but like she's just kind of like great at everything outside of that. So just kind of a well-rounded character, you know, that kind of thing. Got 3 pretty decent variations that you can kind of use for all of it. A lot of people, when they're making their tier lists, I find they're just like, oh, well, this is the best variation. It's like, well, the whole point of variations is so that you can use certain variations in certain matchups. So, I mean, just look at the character as a whole. This next character, for example, Cetrion. Force of Nature and Spring Cleaning. Between those 2 variations, you got your entire cast covered. The wall is one of the most amazing moves in the game. It actually carries the whole Born Again variation, as you may or may not know. I'm super hater on Born Again. I think it's a bad variation. But Cetrion is just so great as a whole, like her main base moveset, that she makes it work. So, anyways, that's my opinion on Cetrion, completely unbiased, of course. Devora, this is my next one here. She's going into the good pile. So she's again, she's got some good damage, some really sick setups, 3 pretty decent variations. I think one of them, yeah, Creepy Crawler is still, I think it's underrated, honestly, but it's not terrible. Got some really nice crushing blows she gets access to. You know, I played around with it for a little bit. Moving on to Aaron Black. He is in the great tier. He's just below being in the best, I think. Another one who's got 3 sick variations, like all 3 of them. Some of them are a little bit gimmicky, but I mean, and then combined, he's just like a complete character with all 3 great variations. So, okay, and then we have Frost. And I'm a little undecided, but I think I'm going to put Frost in the okay spot. She just, I don't know. Arctic Anarchy, I think it is a good anti-zoning variation. It's still not foolproof. I mean, you can get hit out of your little dive bomb thingy quite a bit. She's got some nice setups in Frostbite, but once you kind of figure out what's going on, it's not so hard, and she gets kind of zoned out a little bit easier. So I think as far as the other, when you compare her to the other characters, she's just doesn't have those strong variations. She doesn't really have one in particular that you should be relying on, so I put her in the okay spot. I do think that every character in the game is pretty much viable, except for maybe the ones in this okay one you might not be able to win a tournament with, but I think outside of that, every character is good. So, Garrus, same thing, into the great tier, A. He's doesn't really have any super glaring weaknesses, 3 super strong variations. Just a good character, man. Just a good character, good buttons. We kind of nerfed him a bit. I did have him in the best tier, I think, originally. And I kind of bumped him down here just because some changes happened. Jackie, you know, really struggles. I think that, you know, her frames and her being... I can't even fucking do this. Fucking it. She's at the top. Fuck this shit. I don't even have to say why. If you've ever played an upgraded first round KO, even the second one, I can't remember what that one is, with the little damage over time stuff. Just her base moveset, and I think they made up for it for her not having like a true projectile outside of that one variation. She's very strong. Could be the best in the game, and I'm not 100% sure yet. Jade is in the great tier. She's a really great character. shuts down any zoning in the game pretty much, and can zone you right back. So it's, yeah, I've had my frustrations with Jade for sure. Really good buttons, decent safe mix sometimes, and sometimes can just continually be plus if you don't know the matchup, you don't know what you're doing. Or she'll hit you, because she's got safe ways to mix it up. So Jack's very similar way. He's great. He does have a glaring weakness as he can be zoned out a little bit. He has some good moves and good ways to move in. I think it's a Grit and Bear It where he gets a little stance where he can like go under projectiles and stuff. So like he has ways around it. He's not completely helpless to it, but a good zoner can beat a good Jax on any given day. Johnny Cage, same kind of thing. I mean, the strong zoners in the game will take him out pretty easily. Showstopper has some freaking sick damage. Outtake has actually some really good counter zoning. You have to zone him a little bit smarter when he starts using those force balls. And again, another character with 3 very strong variations. And that seems to be kind of the story of the great tier that I got here, is they're super strong, all 3 variations. You know, you could viably win most matchups, and if not, just switch to a different variation, and you can still have the same character that you like, just with a different variation to handle that matchup. So Cabal, same thing, great tier, 3 great variations. I think Cabal has been like super underrated for a long time. A lot of people kind of overlook him, and I think maybe he's kind of escaped some changes over the course of the last year. And he's just super safe on everything, really great staggers. There's certain distances where you can't really challenge him. His back one is just a super strong tool. I almost want to put him in S. Almost. He's just not quite on that level. He's just like really good at everything without really a glaring weakness, but he's just not as good as the top, the Dominate. Kano got a lot better in the last patch. I still think he's just in the good tier though. He's got a lot of good things about him. Hit confirmable launchers now. So good damage. Again, all 3 decent variations, but like they're not super crazy, you know? You know what I'm saying? Katana, another one, great. All 3 variations. I think you could stay afloat in a tournament between Highborn and Fearless alone. You got 2 very strong things going on there. You guys have all seen my Fearless gameplay, I'm sure. If not, welcome to the channel, I guess. Collector, I want to say he's great, but I'm going to put him in good tier right now. He has one of the better command grabs in the game. I'm not certain about his 3rd variation yet. I've played Sweaty Slushy a couple times, and I actually forgot it was Berry Slushy for a second. I'm just so used to seeing Sweaty Slushy. But yeah, and he's played all variations against me, and I think they're all decent. I'm just not sure the viability of them. So I'm just going to put him in good tier for now. That opinion might change if you have a different outlook that you want to give me in the comments down below. Just try and change my mind, you know. Kotal Kahn, same thing. I got him on the good tier. Pretty glaring weakness is zoning. He does have the kitty pounds to kind of get around that, but it's, you know, if you read it, it's not really safe. I mean, some of the better zoners in the game, their projectiles are pretty quick and they can recover, and he has to make like hard reads on that. So, but you know, he does get super sick damage in Bullock, and you know, his command grab and ascension is really good. So I mean, I feel like by putting these characters in good that I'm saying they're bad, but they're really not. There's not the C tiers or they're not even that bad either. They're just a little bit below these other guys. This game is super duper balanced, guys. That's what I like about it. Like the gap between like Frost and Cetrion is not that huge, you know. Yeah, I'm just doing this because, you know, this is a visual that you kind of have to do. Kronika's on here for some reason, so I'll just put her in S because, like, let's be real here, she probably would be. Kung Lao is definitely in the great tier. The great Kung Lao. See what I did there? And jump attacks are super obnoxious. He's got some really good staggers that he can use. I remember when the game first came out, people were saying he sucked because he didn't have an overhead or something like that. But turns out he doesn't need it. A really good throw, crushing blow. The staggers really good damage, and you can do more if you want to use more meter. But the only thing with him is that I think he's the only one in the great tier because his base moveset is so good that he really doesn't, like, the 3rd variation that he has isn't very useful. I've tried to lab it a little bit. Again, you can let me know in the comments down below if I'm out to lunch on this one. But that would be the one that this is one exception where his base moveset is so good that I can ignore the fact that 3rd variation is just not there. So Liu Kang definitely up there in the best in the game. got a freaking command grab for some reason. Overhead low kind of Rekka type things going on. Well, not really Rekkas, but mix-ups, I guess. Great base moveset. Kind of handles all variations well with between all three of his variations. 3 very powerful variations. I could go on, but I'm not going to. Nightwolf, another one with 3 very good variations. I mean, from now on, I'm just going to, if I put him on there, unless it's not, I'm just going to assume that you know that. But yeah, command grabs, tick throws, great anti-zoning, a mid-projectile. Nightwolf is definitely up there, a contender in the game. Noob Sailboat, we're going to put down in the good section. Because, again, he's a powerful character, but he's not quite on the level as everybody else in that tier. So we're just going to put him there. And then, again, I think Pitch Black is not really a viable variation. Yeah, like I said, changed my mind. Raiden is actually one that, if it wasn't for Truth and Light, which is the worst variation in the game, in my opinion, I would put him in great. If it wasn't for that one completely useless variation, the buffs he got are really, really good. It creates a really sick mind game. It's just, he's not strong enough there to be like Kung Lao, where that eliminating that third variation really matters. So I'm going to put him in the good tier. But his good variations are really, really good. He's just useless in that one variation. So I really hope they do something to change that. Because, yeah. My controversial opinion on Scorpion is he is great. Now, he has 2 throw crushing blows, a really quick overhead that's also a armor breaker, good mobility, teleport cancels. It was kind of a meme before that I thought he was really good, but now I think that he's kind of up there now. 3 very good variations as well. The mix-ups in the third one are kind of fun. It's kind of fun to play against. If you one's safe, but the one's unsafe, but you can read it, so I don't know. That's the only variation I'd say I'd ever have fun playing against is Scorpion, but I don't know. Yeah, for now I'm going to put him in the great tier. Alright, I took a quick break there so I could expand the window. I didn't realize I was cutting off Frost's head. I put Shang Tsung up in the great tier. He would be in S tier, but Spellmaster's a thing, so the other 2 variations are freaking awesome though. So Shao Kahn, I have yet to really form a huge opinion on. I think he might be in the great tier, but he's got like a +7 restand now, but he's in the good tier for now until I do a little bit more digging with him. I'm gonna get Dark Dink out here playing some games soon. Then we get to Happy Birthday Hater Skartlet. Skartlet is in the OK tier, which is like, I think they still need a little bit of tinkering with, I think that just not strong enough to compete on the level in the tournament. You might need a secondary. You might get through some matchups, but you definitely need a secondary if you're going to try and win something. So she's just, all of her gaps are just, she's easy to fight against, and sometimes she tries to, use the flawless block gaps to try and parry, but sometimes her parry isn't fast enough. So it's really hard for her to open up. She has really good zoning, but then there's so many characters in the game that don't care about zoning that her zoning just isn't strong enough on its own to kind of keep her afloat. So I have her where I have her. Your opinions is appreciated if you want to put it down below. Sonya I have in the great tier. 50-50s, decent variations. Watching Doom play the third one is really, really interesting. A little bit weak to zoning as a force of nature main, but she can actually zone a lot of zoners back, like Skarlet, for example. Poor freaking Skarlet, she struggles so hard. Yeah, so I mean, she's in the great tier. I think the only thing keeping her out of S tier is just, I think force of nature is a hard counter to her. Maybe 7-3, 6-4, for sure. Sub-Zero I'm going to put in the great tier. A lot of characters in this tier, holy smokes. 3 good variations. He does have, the overhead is pretty easy to react to offline, but online I can do it, but it's hard. I'm kind of making more reads on the actual person and what they're doing rather than actual seeing the move and react. But I'm also old, guys, so I mean, don't take my word for it, but I don't think he belongs in S tier, and I think he's just a little bit too good to be in the good tier. So Terminator I have in the great tier as well. he's playing a completely different game. He's playing MKX while everyone else is playing MK11. He's just overhead lows, command grabs. Just fuck your neutral, I'm just going to run at you. So, I mean, he's a very similar clone to Jason, I'd say, from MKX, just a little bit updated and with a fake Arnie voice actor. Sindel, same thing, in the great tier. 3 very good variations, good range, good damage, good counter zoning, good zoning. Like I said, all variations are good. Joker is definitely one of the better ones in the game, especially Ace of Knaves. Just a setup machine, everything's safe. When is it your turn? Like, you really have to try and steal your turn back against them. And then Mad has really good damage. The first one I'd kind of think, the Clown Prince, it's kind of eh. But I mean, Joker is another one of those characters whose overall moveset kind of makes up for that. And he can still be successful outside of it. But Ace of Knaves is just, in my opinion, by far the best variation in the game. Or not. Maybe Spring Cleaning, but no. They're pretty close. Anyway, Spawn's in the good tier. He doesn't really impress me that much. 3 okay variations. They all have served their own little purposes. First one is probably the worst one. At least I haven't seen anybody do anything with it yet, and it's easy for me to fight against. So, unsafe dive kick. The guns are kind of like... The chip out with those is pretty cool. I mean, if you're like got like 20 health left, you're toast. You've lost. Good luck. And then you've got really good variation in damage in the 1. And then I can't remember the name of the 3rd one, but everything's just safe. It doesn't matter what he does, everything's safe. But he does have a couple weaknesses. He gets zoned out pretty easily. And, you know, his little fireball things, most characters can do a low attack under. It's not a true mid, so a couple things that he could be improved on there. Fujin, I'm not 100% sure about. I'm going to put him in the gray tier because from my experience, it's really hard to fight against him. A lot of his stuff, his strings, his special moves, they put him in a distance where it's negative, but it's kind of hard to punish. So I imagine if you had a character like Sub-Zero who could like punish with a slide, it might be different. But most of my characters don't really have something like that. So it keeps Fujin really safe and in kind of a weird range. He also has really good movement, especially in the Cloud Walker variation or whatever it is. Wind Walker, I can't remember what they called it, but he just runs all over the screen. And even sometimes, you know, my straight fans with Katana will just go straight in. He's just walking over top of him, doesn't give a fuck, and he's crushing blow. So, but that being said, I'm not an expert on Fujin. I only know from fighting against him and kind of looking at his overall tools and seeing what he has. This is where I'd place him. If you have an argument for putting him different, like I said, leave it in the comments down below, and I will respond to it. Shiva, same thing. I got her in the great tier. She's got her 3rd variation is just mix. Doesn't really care about zoning. Her stomps are super annoying. And yeah, that's Shiva in a nutshell. Again, 3 variations. They're all very good. Serve their own purpose. I think she's a really, really good built character in this game. I don't know what else to say about it. Last character, guys. The very last one. And they are going in the okay tier. I bet some people will disagree with me on this one here. I know one person in particular will. That's all he talks about is Robocop. But I think Robocop is like, there are characters in the game that do what he does better, so like, why pick him? And his variations are very gimmicky. It's kind of unclear what your game plan is supposed to be. He has a nice mid command grab in one of them, I'll give him that. But that one variation is one that gets zoned out pretty easy, so that's really easy to kind of counteract. I tried playing a 2nd variation. His zoning's okay, because it seems like that's what they want you to do in that variation, is zone, which is fine. He's okay at it. He's not good as characters that are like true zoners in this game, like Katana or Cetrion. So, I don't know. I wasn't really impressed there. His 3rd variation seems like a setup variation, but I don't know. You give up a lot to get those setups, and I'm not really sure how much damage they do. I was playing around with it for a little bit. So like I said, I could be out to lunch on that. I did play Robocop for like a week when he came out, because he did look like he had some interesting zoning, which he does, but it's kind of easy to get around, and if you make the right reads, you're in no problem, and then it's just, yeah, business as usual for your character. So that's it, guys. That's my tier list. Currently, for Mortal Kombat 11, did I hit the nail on the head? Bing! Am I completely out to lunch? Are you pissed because your main isn't where you wanted them to be? Let me know in the comments down below and let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't, because we make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you guys in the next video.